Think and Grow Rich. Summary. This document intends to be a summary of Napoleon Hill's work Think and Grow Rich. It will summarize the main ideas of the book, the proceedings and methodology it suggests, and a description of the hidden secret. Hidden Secret of Andrew Carnegie, Keys to Success. Andrew Carnegie's secret is for all those who are ready for it and are determined, which implies you know what you want. In that sense it is very important for self-determination and has been admitted by many men over time. The secret, which is present at least once in every chapter, is based on the fact that there is no such thing as something for nothing, and it is said to be applicable to all those who follow Carnegie's instructions. The secret refers to human nature. In most cases, the main reason of failure has to do with giving up due to a lack of faith when encountering temporary defeat. This is instinctive to the men, and has been produced as a result of natural selection to ensure the persistence of man. However, in our world, quitting should not be considered as a means of self-defense but a barrier which stops us from achieving our goals. Having said that, Carnegie's secret is about reprogramming your own mind and saturate it with faith and perseverance to overcome temporary defeat. 1. The power of thought. 1.1 Thoughts are things. Riches begin with a state of mind which may be induced by thinking. This state of mind has in particular definiteness of purpose and persistence. The idea is to shift one's mind from a failure-conscious state of mind into a money-conscious one. For this, only one idea is needed, and this book contains the best and most practical ways to create sound ideas. It is important to have the definite knowledge that thoughts can be transmuted into physical by the application of certain principles. In other words, following the instructions, money will start to come naturally. Only one person among 100,000 knows this secret, but nobody talks about it because of its simplicity. 1.2 Strange power. This is a strange power that attracts riches and which we can understand and apply through given instructions. One of the characteristics of the money-conscious state of mind, also called Carnegie's state of mind, is it is visible in the expression of the face, in the eyes, and has the power to influence people. 1.3 Readiness. When one is truly ready for a thing, he puts it into appearance, and the link between failure and success is something one have to learn before one could succeed in anything. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. Almost all achievers have dedicated thought to analyze where success comes from, and most of them learnt something which has to do with the couple. A great lesson for 50C and 3 feet from gold. Quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat is natural, logical and instinctive. And that is why opportunities almost always come disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. They are big opportunities because everybody quits. However, in most cases of success came one step beyond the point where temporary defeat had overtaken the men. TNGR is about learning the art of converting temporary defeat into opportunity. Desire. 2.1 Definiteness of purpose. When one truly is definite on his purpose, he may burn all the bridges behind, to ensure there is no way back. Also, you have to make the decision of being ready to stick your entire life in order to make one step closer to your purpose. In the case of Mr. Barnes, he always considered himself a partner of Edison from the very moment he started working for him, even if his job wasn't directly related to Edison's. When one is definite, one puts his dreams across and never minds what others say when encountering temporary defeat. But this is not easy. In many cases, the turning point of those who succeeded came at some personal crisis where they were introduced to their other selves. The truth is, accumulation of riches is not left to chance, good fortune, or luck. It is the result of a long quest. As an example, Edison failed many times before he discovered the genius sleeping within his mind. This state of mind can only be obtained through persistence and a burning desire. 2.2 Method for transmuting desire into riches. The below is a recipe by Andrew Carnegie, which also holds Edison's stamp of approval as essential for the attainment of any definite goal. However, those who have not been schooled in the working principles of mind will find these instructions impractical and therefore will be doomed to failure. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire, as accurate as possible. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return, as there is no such thing as something for nothing. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Create a plan and begin at once, whether you are ready or not. Write points 1 to 4 as clear and concise as possible. Read point 5 twice daily, in the morning after rising and before retiring at night. With the application of these principles, you will convince yourself as you become definitely determined. In fact, money consciousness is a state of mind so saturated with desire you see yourself already in possession of it. 2.3 Mary Kay Techniques for Self-Confidence. Mary Kay has proposed a few steps to increase self-confidence, in line with Carnegie's principles. Visualize yourself successful. Visualize yourself in this new environment, capable and self-confident. Reflect on your past success. Recall it to remember your potential. Set definite goals and be aware when you deviate to undertake corrective action. Respond positively to life, e.g., delete the word impossible and many others. 3. Faith. 3.1 Most powerful emotion. Faith, love and sex are the most powerful emotions to instantly reach your subconscious mind. It is important insofar as it connects with infinite intelligence. Faith is a state of mind which can be induced at free will, especially after mastering the 13 steps of TNGR. In fact, it can be induced through repetition of instructions by the principle of autosuggestion, which today is the only known method to develop faith voluntarily. As an example, in many cases behind the success of many men there was the influence of a woman's love, which is not as strong as faith but quite close. 3.2 Subconscious. When mixed with emotion, and best is mixing with faith, thoughts reach the subconscious mind, which finally takes on the nature of the influences that dominate it. The subconscious mind then starts working and reflecting those thoughts, and thus it is so important to encourage positive thoughts and eliminate negative thoughts. 3.3 Self-confidence formula. The below principles should be stated in writing, memorized and repeated until they become part of the working equipment of the subconscious faculty. This is a law of nature and it works for the glory and success of the humankind when used constructively, and to its destruction if used incorrectly. First, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life, therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward, physical action, and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture. Third, I know that through the principle of autosuggestion any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use, and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me, because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism, by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me, because I will believe in them, and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day, with full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I will become a self-reliant and successful person. 4. Autosuggestion 4.1 Talking to the subconscious mind. Nature has given us absolute control over what material reaches our subconscious mind. However, most people do not use it and experience failure and poverty. The price of the ability to influence your subconscious mind is everlasting persistence in applying the principles described. It is important to note no thought can enter the subconscious mind without autosuggestion. Do not wait for a definite plan through which you intend to exchange services in return for money. Begin at once to see yourself in possession of the money, demanding and expecting. But when the plan appears, put it into action immediately. It usually comes in form of inspiration and has to be caught. Failure to do this will be fatal for your success. Do not trust your reason when creating a plan, for your reason is faulty. It is much better to count on infinite intelligence. 4.2 Instructions for autosuggestion. A good practice to do at least once a day. Fix in your own mind the exact amount of money you desire, holding by concentration and your eyes closed, until you actually see the physical appearance of the money. Remember to emotionalize the instructions, because otherwise they won't reach the subconscious mind. It is also important to see yourself rendering the service when visualizing the money. If you follow the instructions, your skepticism will be soon replaced with belief, and belief in turn will be replaced with absolute faith. And then you may be on the point to say, I am the master of my faith, I am the captain of my soul. First, go into some quiet spot, preferably in bed at night, where you will not be disturbed or interrupted. Close your eyes, and repeat aloud, so you may hear your own words, the written statement of the amount of money you intend to accumulate, the time limit for its accumulation, and a description of the service or merchandise you intend to give in return for the money. As you carry out these instructions, see yourself already in possession of the money. I believe that I will have this money in my possession. My faith is so strong that I can now see this money before my eyes. I can touch it with my hands. It is now awaiting transfer to me at the time, and in the proportion I deliver the service I intend to render in return for it. I am awaiting a plan by which to accumulate this money, and I will follow that plan when it is received. Second, repeat this program night and morning until you can see, in your imagination, the money you intend to accumulate. Third, place a written copy of your statement where you can see it night and morning, and read it just before retiring, and upon arising in the morning until it has been memorized. Read the entire chapter every night until believing autosuggestion is sound, and that it will accomplish for you all that you have been claiming for. 5. Specialized knowledge. 5.1 Nature of knowledge. There are two kinds of knowledge: general and specialized. General knowledge is of little use in the accumulation of money. Specialized knowledge will not attract money unless it is intelligently organized with imagination and directed through practical plans of action into the definite end of accumulation of money. Knowledge is only potential power. Also, when you need more knowledge than you can acquire, you may bridge this weakness through the mastermind principle. Knowledge doesn't have to be in possession of the person who accumulates the fortune. But the person who stops studying is doomed to mediocrity, as success implies continuous pursuit of knowledge. 5.2 Education. A person is said to be educated when she knows where to get knowledge when needed, and how to use imagination for the organization of such knowledge into definite plans of action. Such a person should also be able to organize and direct the mastermind who possesses the knowledge useful in the accumulation of money. The importance of imagination and of educated men is due to the fact specialized knowledge is much more abundant and more easily acquired than original ideas. Specialized knowledge may be found just around the corner. 5.3 Low beginnings. Getting into a rut is when we accept a fate because of the habit of the daily routine. The habit becomes stronger and stronger until we cease to try to throw it off. Bottoms are always monotonous, unprofitable places. That's why we have to avoid low beginnings. However, when starting from the bottom, it is worth taking into account that more money changes hands in return for services than for any other purpose. 6. Imagination. 6.12 Sides of the imagination. Imagination is the means through which the desire is given shape, form and action. There are two kinds of imagination: synthetic imagination. It arranges old concepts, ideas or plans into new combinations. Synthetic imagination is the one type most frequently used in the process of transforming the desire into riches. Creative imagination. It gives the finite mind direct communication with infinite intelligence. It is the faculty through which inspiration is received. It is also the faculty through which human minds connect and exchange vibrations of thought. The great of history became great because they developed creative imagination. Creative imagination works only when the conscious mind is vibrating at an exceedingly rapid rate, as when the conscious mind is stimulated through the emotion of a strong desire. Put your plan for the realization in writing as soon as possible, to give concrete form to the intangible desire. This, along with the written statement of your desire, is the first step towards converting thought into its physical counterpart. One should remember that how the desire is converted into money cannot be stated in one single statement. The story will be complete when one has mastered and begun to make use of all the principles of the book. It is possible to be done, for it has been done before. 6.2 Laws of nature and artificial laws of men. You can build a fortune through the aid of immutable laws. But first, you must become familiar with these laws and learn to use them. Through repetition and by approaching these principles from every conceivable angle, the hidden secret through which great fortunes have been accumulated will be revealed. Strange and paradoxical as it may seem, the secret is not a secret. Nature has advertised this secret in terms of biology. The conversion of desire into physical equivalent is no more miraculous than the conversion of a tiny cell into a human being. This part is important as it is the key of the understanding of the principle which built everything which exists. As the construction of natural things is driven by the laws of nature, the construction of artificial things is driven by the laws of definiteness of purpose. In fact, there is nothing more definite than the laws of physics such as gravity, electromagnetism, etc. That is why riches, when they come in big quantities, are never the result of hard work. They come naturally, as if they were generated by nature. Unless you have not been a student of the mind for long, it is not expected you will assimilate all that is in the chapter upon first reading. In fact, the book must have been read at least 3 times. 6.3 Ideas are the starting point of all fortunes. The moment you reach the decision of definiteness of purpose, a strange feeling of assurance will come over you, such as you have not experienced before. Ideas are impulses of thought that impel action by an appeal to the imagination. They can be transmuted into cash through the power of definite purpose and definite plans. All successful sales representatives know ideas can be sold where merchandise cannot. Ordinary sales don't know this, and that's why they are ordinary. The story of practically every great fortune starts when a creator of ideas meets a seller of ideas and begins working in harmony. Millions of people go through life hoping for a favorable break. Perhaps breaks can get one opportunity, but the safest plan is not to depend on luck. 7. Organized planning. 7.1 Rebuilding plans. This part covers how to build the practical plans before mentioned. Ally yourself with a mastermind to ensure the viability of the plan. Decide what compensation will be given to members of the mastermind in return for their cooperation. Ensure continuous meetings and harmony prevails among the mastermind. No individual has ancient experience or skills to ensure the accumulation of a great fortune without the cooperation of other people. 7.2 Trial and error. If the plan you adopt doesn't work successfully, replace it with a new plan until one does work. By an iterative process based on trial and error is how nature is built, and one must understand this. It is a natural process to ensure all existing things are in harmony. Temporary defeat is when your plan doesn't work. This only means your plan is not sound enough. You just have to try until you find the right plan. No man is ever whipped until he quits, in his own mind. In fact, no follower of this philosophy can reasonably expect to accumulate a fortune without experiencing temporary defeat. In fact, a quitter never wins and a winner never quits. This sentence has to be written on a visible place and read every morning and every night. 7.3 Attributes of leadership. There are 2 types of leadership: by consent and by force, being the first one much more effective. In fact, leadership by force will not endure. The following are important factors: unwavering courage, self-control, a keen sense of justice, definiteness of plans and decision, habit of doing more than paid for, pleasant personality, sympathy and understanding, mastery of detail, willingness to assume full responsibility. Use the principle of cooperation. On the other side, there are some important causes of failure: fear of competition from followers, selfishness, authority, disloyalty. 7.4 The 30 reasons of failure. There are 30 main reasons for failure. An important exercise is to go over them on a frequent basis and see which ones you check in order to avoid them. You can also do it with someone who knows you for contrasting. To avoid this, there is a self-analysis questionnaire for inventory. The most important questions are the following: have I delivered the best quality? Have I delivered service in the greatest quantity and eliminated procrastination? Have I worked in perfect harmony? Have I been persistent? 7.5 The capital in an organized capitalistic country. One should pay attention to two things. One must adapt to the capitalistic structure as much as possible. The more capitalistic a country is, the more opportunities it offers. Capitalistic society guarantees every person the opportunity to provide useful service and to collect riches in proportion to the value of the service. The system gives everyone his right, but denies something for nothing. The law of economics was passed by nature, and cannot be repealed, and it denies the idea of getting without giving. 8 Decision 8.1 Procrastination. Procrastination is the opposite of decision and an enemy every man must conquer. Men who have accumulated fortunes beyond the $1 million mark have the habit of reaching decisions promptly and changing these decisions slowly, if and where they were changed. People who fail to accumulate money take decisions slowly, and change them quickly and often. Indeed, it is better to be obstinate like H. Ford is more than a procrastinator. People who fail are easily influenced by the opinions of others, and let them do their thinking for them. Achievers do not take in confidence but their master mind members, and especially those who are in complete harmony with them. Many people have their self-confidence ruined because of some well-meaning but ignorant opinions of the others. That is why when asking opinions we should do it quietly, without openly disclosing our purpose. Those who talk too much do little else. If you talk more than you listen, you not only deprive yourself of good opportunities, but you disclose your purpose to people who will take delight in defeating you because they envy you. You should place the following sentence in a big visible place. Tell the world what you intend to do, but first show it. 8.2 Courage. There is a special power which is a product of the following: desire, decision, faith, persistence, mastermind and organized planning. The secret is not a miracle. It is only the law of nature, which is available to anyone who has the faith and the courage to use it. By decisions made in a spirit of faith, and only by such decisions, men can solve their personal problems and win for themselves high states of material and spiritual wealth. However, after you take a decision you need the courage to undertake it. 9 Persistence 9.1 The sustained effort. It is the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. Persistence is an essential factor in the procedure of transmuting desire into money, and whose basis is the power of will. Persistence is imperative. Without it, you will be defeated before you start. Keep in mind persistence has no substitute. The majority of people are ready to throw their aims and purposes overboard and give up at first sign of opposition or misfortune. The very few who carry on despite all opposition until they attain their goal are the Carnegie, the Fords, Rockefellers, Edisons, etc. Fortunes gravitate to men whose minds have been prepared to attract them, just as water gravitates to the ocean. This book is all the stimuli necessary to attune any normal mind to the vibrations which will attract the object of one's desire. To get results you must apply all the rules until their application becomes a fixed habit with you. Occasional effort will be of no value. The lack of persistence, common to the majority of men, may be conquered only through the intensity of the desire. The first test as to your persistence will come when you begin to follow the 6 steps in Chapter 2. Unless you are 1 out of 100, you may read the instructions and then pass on with your daily routine and never comply with those instructions. 9.2 Poverty consciousness. Poverty consciousness occupies the mind by default. Money consciousness must be created to order unless one is born with it. You may find it necessary to snap out of your mental inertia, through a similar procedure, moving slowly at first, then increasing your speed until you gain complete control over your will. Be persistent no matter how slowly you may start, as persistence will come success. The good part of the mastermind is that some members can aid other members in the development of persistence. 9.3 Fear of criticism. People refuse to take chances in business because they fear the criticism if they fail. In those cases, the fear of criticism is stronger than the desire for success. Keep in mind, most feared criticism comes from relatives and friends. The time to nurse an idea is at the time of its birth. Every minute it lives gives it a better chance of surviving. The fear of criticisms is at the bottom of the destruction of new ideas. 9.4 The habit of persistence. There are 4 simple steps leading to the habit of persistence. Definite purpose backed by burning desire. Definite plan expressed in continuous action. A mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences. Friendly alliance with the persons who will encourage you to achieve. The purpose of the 13 Principles of Carnegie is to enable you to take these 4 steps as a matter of habit. Those who give the privilege of making life yield whatever price is asked. Poverty needs no plan and no one to aid it, because it is bold and ruthless. Riches are shy and timid, and need to be attracted. 10 Power of the Master Mind. 10.1 Nature of power. Power may be defined as organized and intelligently directed knowledge, and is essential for success in the accumulation of money. This is because plans are inert and useless without stuff. Ancient power to translate them into action. Power is required for the accumulation of money, but also for its retention. If power is knowledge, there are 3 sources: infinite intelligence, accumulated experience, experiment and research. 10.2 Gaining power through the master mind. Men take on the nature and habits, and the power of thought of those whom they associate in a spirit of sympathy and harmony. The master mind principle and its economic features were mentioned by Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie's master mind group consisted of a staff of about 50 men for the purpose of manufacturing and marketing steel. He attributed his entire fortune to the power he accumulated through his master mind. When several minds work together in perfect harmony, they create synergies, and the resulting power is bigger than the sum of the individual powers. Even more, when a master mind is formed, the increased power is available not only to the coordinator but also to each member of the master mind. This form of cooperative alliance has been the basis of nearly every great fortune. This truth may definitely boost your financial status and the only way to accumulate outstanding amounts of power. 11 The mystery of sex transmutation. 11.1 The power of sex. The emotion that sex brings into is a state of mind. Because of ignorance, this state of mind is generally associated with the physical, and therefore things essentially physical have highly biased the mind of men. Sex has 3 potentialities: the perpetuation of mankind, the maintenance of health, the transformation of mediocrity into a genius through transmutation. Sex desire is the most powerful of human desires. It is so strong people freely run the risk of life and reputation to indulge it. Castrate a bull and you have removed the major source of action. That is why sex should be given an outlet which enriches the body, mind and spirit. The transmutation of sex energy calls for the exercise of willpower, but the reward is worth the effort. However, Napoleon Hill could not say what he wanted due to his time, but with a bit of imagination we can figure out what he meant. Men, stop masturbating. There are 2 characteristics of highly successful men. The men of greatest achievement have learnt the art of sex transmutation and possessed a very developed sexuality. The men who have accumulated great fortunes were motivated by the influence of a woman. When driven by this emotion, men become gifted with a superpower for action. Understand this truth and you will see why sex transmutation can lift you to the status of a genius. 11.2 The 10 mind stimuli. These are main stimuli for the mind, among which sex is number 1. Desire for sex expression. Love. Burning desire for fame, money or power. Music. Friendship. A master mind. Mutual suffering. Autosuggestion. Fear. Destructive. Narcotics and alcohol. Destructive. Genius. A person who has discovered how to increase the vibrations of thought to the point where he can communicate freely with sources of knowledge not available through the ordinary rate of vibration of thought. 11.3 Genius is developed through the sixth sense. The sixth sense is what we called creative imagination. Those who use it deliberately for a certain purpose are genii. The sources where the inspired ideas come from are infinite intelligence, subconscious mind, other person conscious thought, other person subconscious thought. The creative faculty can be trained so it increases its performance, but only by the simple fact of exercising it. There is plenty of reliable evidence this faculty exists and can be voluntarily exercised. According to inventor Mr. Gates, his procedure to access the creative faculty relied on 2 steps. Stimulate your mind using one or more stimuli. Concentrating upon the known and unknown factors, holding the picture in mind until it takes over the subconscious mind. Then relax, clearing your mind of any thought and wait till the answer flashes into your mind. As a note only, to mention that many great men who found their stimuli in love have lost all their fortune after they replaced their old wife for a new one after money and power went to their heads. Napoleon was not the only one to discover that sex stimuli, from the correct source, are more powerful than any other force. 11.4 Urge of sex. Distillation of sex desire. Only the genii have discovered the even bigger power of the urge of sex. Sex energy is the creative energy of all genii, and there will never be a great man of fortune lacking in this driving force. Sex transmutation requires a lot of willpower and is not obtained easily, and even less without persistence and training. These are characteristics of highly sexed people. The handshake, the tone of voice, posture and carriage. Vibrations of thought, influencing those around them. Body adornment. People who lack sex energy never become enthusiastic nor inspire others with enthusiasm. This is the most important requisite in salesmanship. No man can avail himself of the forces of his creative imagination while dissipating them. Moreover, intemperance and indulgence in sex expression may become a habit as destructive and as detrimental to creative effort as narcotics or liquor. Far from becoming genii, because of great sex desires, the majority of men lower themselves to the status of the lowest animals. The period from 40 to 60 is the most productive age of a man. Between the ages of 30 to 40, man begins to learn the art of sex transmutation, if he ever learns. When sex and love begin to mix, the result is calmness of purpose, balance and accuracy of judgment. Love is necessary to induce balance. Some men also mix it with the faith of romance, which results in an even more powerful energy. Nature has provided man with a chemistry of mind, of which he can become a true alchemist. The process consists of 2 steps. Encourage the presence of these emotions as the dominating thoughts. The mind is a creature of habit. You may control the mind through the power of will and persistence. The secret of control lies on understanding the process of transmutation. All negative emotion which may appear must be transmuted into positive ones by simply changing your thoughts. There is no other road to genius. 11.5 Perfect combination. People who have been driven solely by sex energy usually carry with them certain character traits which rob them from enjoying their life and fortune. Ignorance of this has cost people their happiness despite their riches and fortunes. People driven by sex desires alone advertise it by the expression of their eyes. The emotion of love, when mixed with sex, softens and beautifies the facial expression. Sex is physical and love is spiritual. That's why love is life's greatest experience and brings us into communion with infinite intelligence. When romance is added to those of love and sex, the obstruction between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence are removed. Then a genius has been born. 12. The subconscious mind. 12.1 Always running. The subconscious mind is a field in which every impulse of thought is classed and recorded, and from which they can be recalled at a later stage. The subconscious acts first on the dominating desires which have been mixed with emotional feeling. You may voluntarily plant in your subconscious mind any plan, thought or purpose you desire to transmute into its physical equivalent. The subconscious mind works day and night and draws upon the forces of infinite intelligence. The subconscious mind will work anyway, whether you influence it or not. That is why you should better fill it with the thoughts you desire. You cannot entirely control your subconscious mind, but you can voluntarily choose what it should work with by following the principles of autosuggestion. Understanding the importance and the role the subconscious mind plays is important in your effort to transmute ideas into riches. The 13 principles are the stimuli with which you acquire the ability to reach and to influence your subconscious mind voluntarily, but only through habit and faith. You must be patient and persistent. You will not only control the door to the subconscious mind to the point where no undesirable thought may influence it. 12.2 Emotions. The positive emotions you should master by use in order to fill your mind with them so to develop money consciousness are the following: desire, faith, love, sex, enthusiasm, romance, hope. The negative emotions that must be rejected are fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, anger. But positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time, mainly because one negative emotion pollutes all other positive emotions. For example, if you pray for a thing but you have fear as you pray that you may not receive it, your prayer will be in vain. The art of praying is not only a technique, but also a science. 12.3 The Invisible Counselors by Napoleon Hill. This is a technique Napoleon Hill developed in order to be reborn free of ignorance and superstition as a new man. However, with the passing of time, the method became a means to access the subconscious mind when looking for advice on real problems. Every night, over the years, Napoleon Hill held the meeting of the invisible counselors. In his imagination, the great men were sitting around a table around him, who served as the chairman. Then he addressed each member in audible words as follows: Mr. Edison, I desire to acquire from you the marvelous understanding of nature. I ask that you make an impress upon my subconscious mind. After several months, the imaginary figures became apparently real. 13. The brain. The brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. Through the ether, Similarly to a radio, every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of thought which are being released by other brains. The creative imagination is the receiving set of the brain. The subconscious mind is the broadcasting station of the brain. Consider now the autosuggestion principle to put it in practice. Not only the subconscious mind, but also the creative imagination. Only vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried. When mixed with major emotions, thought vibrates at a rate much higher than usual. In this sense, the aim of the sex transmutation is the increase of the rate of vibration of thoughts so creative imagination becomes highly receptive to ideas from the ether. Man understands little or nothing of the intangible force of thought. But this is not a reason to underestimate it. A very interesting way to develop the sixth sense is brainstorming. It involves concentration, definiteness of purpose and sitting around a table thinking out loud. 14. The sixth sense or the ultimate principle, the 13th principle, is known as the sixth sense, through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort from the individual. In fact, it is a portion of the subconscious mind which has been referred to as the creative imagination. It is also believed to be the organ which contacts the universal mind and which receives hunches of inspiration. Napoleon Hill has experienced the sixth sense, which for him is a miracle as he doesn't understand the mechanics behind it. This principle is the apex of the philosophy and can be assimilated, understood and applied only by mastering the other 12 principles. Then, you will be ready to accept this truth. It is a guardian angel who opens the temple of wisdom, warns you of impending dangers and notifies you of opportunities on time. The sixth sense will be of great interest and benefit to the person whose aim is to accumulate vast wealth, but it need not claim the attention of those whose desires are more modest. Indeed, nearly all great leaders in history understood and made use of the sixth sense almost continuously, where the major portion of their greatness consisted in this know-how. Seldom does any individual come into workable knowledge of the sixth sense before the age of 40. And even more often it is not available until one is well past 50. No matter who you are, you can profit by the other 12 principles without the sixth sense, especially if your purpose is money or other material thing. However, this ultimate principle had to be included as part of this philosophy for those who demand more than money. If when reading this chapter you felt you were lifted to a high level of mental stimulation, it is splendid. It means you have felt the touch of that unknown something which has been the moving spirit of every truly great man.